welcome to the Wyvern TV.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Liam.
On today's show we get hands-on with the iPhone 5.
We tell you about a school trip to Kenya.
And the What Bike Challenge at DSMS.
But first, Children in Need was on November the 16th. Here is Katie with the story.
Thank you for that, Liam and Danny. Yes, Children in Need was on November 16th, 2012, and there were many fundraising activities going on in the school. The whole school had a dress down day where everyone donated £1, and there was also cake sales going on at lunch. The head teacher, Mr Kipling, and the deputy head, Mr Johnson, had a game of table tennis and table football where the loser donated £40 to Children in Need. Mr Kipling lost both games. At the end of the day, DSMS raised £570 for Children in Need. Children in Need was on BBC One later that night, and where it smashed its total from last year and made over £26.5 million. Back to Liam and Danny in the studio.
The new iPhone 5 was announced during October. Matthew Curry got hands-on with it, and here is the review.
The Apple App Store now has 700,000 apps, and over 450,000 of them are built for the iPhone. The new iPhone 5 is 20% thinner than the last iPhone and 18% lighter. It has a 4-inch screen, yet the old 3.5-inch iPhone apps still work on it. It runs faster than the last iPhone too, because it has an Apple A6 processing chip, which means it takes photos quicker. It also works with 4G, so if you're an Orange or T-Mobile customer, you can use the new fast internet speed in cities. The battery lasts longer than the last iPhone, and in my opinion it feels extremely well built. However, you expect that from Apple.
Angry Birds Star Wars was released on the App Store recently.
It's like the old Angry Birds, apart from now you have forced lightsabers and you need to save Wookiees.
Now, DSMS is organising a trip to Kenya. Here is Katie with more information.
The trip is open for all students, even current Year 11 ones, and it will be taking place in summer 2014. Kenya is in East Africa on the equator, so the average temperature is between 10 and 32 degrees Celsius. The population is around 43 million people, and the two main languages are English and Swahili. Kenya is famous for long-distance runners and safaris.
A life-changing experience for everyone going. It'll give us all a chance to see a different side of life and a different culture. I think it'd be really good for everyone to see how people live out there and really do something that makes a difference. And I also think the teamwork aspect of raising all the money will be really character building for everybody involved.
The school trip is going to be 10 days long, and lots of fundraising is going to happen to ensure that the trip takes place. The lucky pupils who will get to be going to help a community by either assisting in their education, helping construct buildings or running activities. The places on the trip are limited, and lots of support is going to be needed for a once in a lifetime opportunity to take place.
The Wyvern newspaper turned 3 years old on the 20th of November 2012. Here is Rebecca with the story.
The Wyvern's third birthday was on the 20th of November 2012, and the full Wyvern team celebrated it with some cake at break. Since 2009, when the paper first started, loads has changed. For one, we now make a monthly news show, and the style has changed too. One thing that has stayed the same is the high quality everything is produced at. The Wyvern has done some outstanding things since last November. We've interviewed loads of new people, covered some amazing stories, and celebrated our success by travelling down to London to receive a Shine Award.
Now here is the sport with Sam and Ewan.
Hello. Since Darlington has been relegated from the Blue Square Premier League, they have had a good run of form that has had minor blips, but overall they have had an outstanding start to their season.
At the moment they're top of the Northern League 1, but have close competition of Spennymoor, who are a few points behind with games in hand.
It's a two-horse race for who will win the league between them and Spennymoor.
Here's our Meet the Manager experience, where we listen to a highly anticipated interview with the Darlington manager.
We have roughly 20 to 21 players. We have roughly about 11 to 12 players on a contract. That means players a contract to our football club. So, you know, what we had to do in the early days in sort of June when I took the job was we didn't have a team. We had one player that we inherited from last year's squad from Darlington Football Club. So we had to go out and find a team basically, and that was very tough, trying to select the right 20 players to make sure that you were going to compete to challenge to win the league. So, you know, as every manager, you don't get every player right, but you know, you try to get the nucleus of your team. So we've got a real strong core, and as you've probably seen over the last sort of few weeks, we're trying to go again and strengthen our team, but with what we would say is real high quality now. But when we bring players in, unfortunately the business of football, sometimes you've got to let players go as well. So we've done that yesterday. We've invested in a real great player, but unfortunately 2 players had to leave the football club yesterday. So as I was saying, getting back to the question, sort of 20 to 21, I don't want to carry a massive squad. Even at 21 we have some sort of younger players within our youth team that support that 21. So it's important that you don't have unhappy players sitting doing nothing every Saturday. I'd rather have a real good 18 players fighting for position.
Absolutely. Well, I say absolutely. I played football at school, but wearing glasses and being a skinny kid, which I was, you used to get bullied around and pushed around, and I don't enjoy being bullied around and pushed around, so I did more delicate things like tennis and stuff like that. So I didn't really play football. So I have a joke that I used to play in the school 6th 11, so if I had 6 teams I would have got into the 6th one. I wasn't good at it, and that was the end of that. But as I grew up and took a great interest in local football, I used to go to amateur football games and watch them, and really enjoyed that. And then I married, and we moved out of this area, and then we moved back again and had our family. And I worked away at the time, and my kids were sort of 4 and 5, and they said they expressed an interest in going to a football club, and I thought Middlesbrough, Manchester United. But no, my son, who was 5, said he would like to go to Darlington. So we went along, the 2 boys and myself, we went along and really enjoyed some father-son or father-children time. It was really enjoyable for me, because I was working away all week and running business in Manchester, and it just wasn't easy to get some of this togetherness time. Then my wife very intelligently worked out that if she wanted to be a part of this, she better come along as well. And my eldest son's now 34. My wife knows the offside trap like the back of her hand, and she's the first to leap to her feet and protest if she thinks the referee is wrong. So to say I've always been interested in football, only so far, but as I said earlier, we've had a season ticket for 34, 35 years, and I thoroughly believe the Darlington Football Club is a great club to support.
Obviously, I think as I've said before, you know, my love for the club comes first and foremost. You know, I've been at the club sort of 12 years now, on and off, and I just feel, you know, as you cut out to manage and in business, you know, I've got big belief of what I can do as a manager, aspirations of where I want to take this football club back to, and you know, it's probably the question the chairman asked me when he interviewed me for the job. Why do you think you're the best man for the job? Because I would be the person, that's what I said to the chairman, that I'll make the difference and get this club back to where it is, because I have the belief in what I do as a manager and a coach and my staff, that, you know, I will get this club back to the Football League. Thank you.
Certainly is, Sam. I mean, the big job we've got on now, because we've got a club that's set up, we've got a team that Martin and his coaches are running at the highest possible level, although he wouldn't admit that, he's always trying to do better and better and better. I can turn my attention away now from that to the real job, which is getting back to Darlington. And, you know, there's a great love for Darlington Football Club in the town from people who don't support it as much as there is from people who do. You know, as an example, when we were looking for money to restart the club, I had one 82-year-old lady from the Channel Islands, which is between England and France, in case anybody's not familiar where it is, who used to live in Darlington 40 years ago, who phoned me up and said that she was so sorry to hear about the club. She wasn't actually a supporter, but she knew a lot of people in town that were, and would I take £200 from her to invest in the club for her? And you really, that meant everything to me, because it meant that there were people with a greater passion than you could ever possibly perceive out there to support, and those are the people that will have to bring the club back to Darlington for. The task we've got is finding a suitable place and finding the money, because it's going to cost an awful lot of money. The stadium that we share at Bishop Auckland at the moment costs £2.4 million, and it's not big enough for us, because we've got a much bigger fan base than they have. We've got an average of 1,348 people turn up, an average, turn up to every one of our home games. They've got an average of 150. So the ground isn't really big enough for us. So we need more money than that to get a ground to suit ourselves. So the task really is twofold at the moment, is finding a place. We will. We've got lots of options. And finding the money. And we will do that. The second one might be less easy than the first one. But you know, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So nobody ever said it would be easy. So we're up for it. Yes, we'll be back. I cannot promise you it'll be next Saturday. I cannot promise you it'll be 2005. I just cannot promise you it'll be 2015. We really, really don't know. But we'll be back, I promise you.
In other national news, Chelsea have sacked their manager Roberto Di Matteo due to a lack of good results.
In his 8 months at the club, he has won the FA Cup and the Champions League, both in dramatic circumstances.
This still wasn't good enough to make his reign any longer, as he was sacked on Wednesday the 21st of November at 9 a.m.
Rafa Benitez will be appointed as the new manager until the end of the season. This will be a big task for him, as the first top club he has managed in the past 2 years.
In Formula 1 news, Sebastian Vettel has won the World Championship for the 3rd time.
He beat Ferrari driver Fernando Alonso by only a few points.
The What Bike Challenge was at DSMS during the beginning of November. Here is Tyler with more information.
This is the second year that the What Bike Challenge came to DSMS. Pupils need to cycle 1 kilometre on one of these bikes as quickly as possible. The fastest people get through to the town championship, which is later this academic year.
Thanks, it has been the sport with me, Sam Hutchinson.
And me, Ewan Barr.
Thanks for that, but that is all for now. However, you can visit us online at www.wyvernnews.blogspot.com.
Or you can follow us on Twitter at DSMS_Wyvern.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Stop your messing around.